You're speaking my language. Takes me all the way back to my hometown, Nashville, Tennessee. I cut my teeth on that song, probably. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's my joy to see you and to feel the love that just circulates this room. Today, Reverend Mark Pope is speaking. Unity minister, colleague.
Thank you.
And an all-around swell guy. Okay, let's take a breath. Let us begin by giving thanks for this beautiful day and every beautiful moment in it. We release, let go, and just allow the divine presence within us to guide us. We are in our right place at the right time, every single moment, to see the light. We are evolving deeper into the heart of God. There is nothing to fear, only deeper love, more expansive love. The love that brings the richness of the heart, which pours forth as gratitude, generosity. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for this day, for bringing us here. We are open and receptive to your living Spirit of truth. And so it is. Amen.
Please stand if you're able, and sing with us, Called to Be, the lyrics I read to listen.
I'm called to be a healer for all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker, be an instrument of peace. I am called to be a giver, of abundance I receive. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I seek. I am called to be everything. I am called to be the glory here on earth, so I might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. I am the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. I am called to be. You are called to be a mother, to nurture family. You are called to be a brother, be strength in times of need. You are called to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you meet. You are called to be a leader, build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you seek. You are called to be everything. You are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God. You are one in me. We are called to be. broken hearted free. We are called to be forgiveness where pain has run too deep. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to make communion, only then can we succeed. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. We are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We are called to be.
Please join me in affirming our opening statement, followed by our vision and our mission. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. Vision statement. A world of spiritually awakened hearts and minds. And I invite you to carry that vision with you throughout the week, wherever you go, whoever you meet, because our mission is we are creating a joyful community on a spiritual pathway to peace and love through fellowship, classes, music, and services. Thank you. Please be seated. And now, in preparation for the meditation, which Mark will lead us in, I am going to share the daily word. Today's daily word is joy. A growing awareness of God's presence is my greatest joy. Awakening from a restful sleep, I give thanks for the new day and all the people who will be part of it. Although I cannot know what will happen as this day unfolds, I remind myself that everything and everyone might lead me to a deeper awareness of God. This growing awareness is my greatest joy. Even if the day includes less than happy experiences, I will know the quiet joy and comforting strength of the peaceful presence of God that is with me always. I will rejoice today in being alive, able to think, to feel, to appreciate the sights, sounds, and aromas that fill my environment. I will discover joy anew as I recognize each person I meet today as a unique expression of the wonder of God. Thumbs up for this one. The scripture, Psalm 118, verse 24. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Joy, a growing awareness of God's presence, is my greatest joy.
Please join us in singing our centering song, I Am. It's in your bulletins.
Over the past several weeks, we've listened to Reverend Donna give a series on 7 centers of consciousness. This morning, I'm just going to draw attention to that center of centers, the heart center. So I invite you to just take a really deep breath, and in releasing it, let go of whatever may have occupied your attention this morning. Just let it go and let your attention come here to the very center of your being. Maybe take another deep breath and let go of any expectation or anticipation of what the future moments, weeks, months may bring. And just come home here to the heart. We are all expressions of this one presence has been expressed this morning. And this is the deepest truth. So in service to one another, let us call forth for ourselves and each other the compassion and mercy that are the natural radiance of the heart. It's really just coming home. Compassion is our capacity to see others undergo difficulty and yet understand, because we have suffered, we have known anxiety ourselves. In our essence, we are this compassion, this mercy embodied. And let us call forth for ourselves and one another the wisdom nature of the heart, the capacity to see anew that all that appears within our awareness is an expression of the sacred. To see the Holy One presence in one another. To be reminded that regardless of appearances, everything is always unfolding in divine order. And let us call forth this morning the healing presence, the capacity of divine love to renew, restore, and make whole again, often in less than the blink of an eye. The greatest power we can ever know is this shining, radiant love that is our own essence. And let us call forth that most enigmatic and mysterious of the attributes of the heart, a love without conditions. We are this pure radiance. Let us open to it. Bringing attention to the heart center is all we really need to do. And let us rest here for a few moments in the stillness, in the silence, and in the heart. Here, at the very essential source of our being, in the stillness, in the silence, and in the heart. We are invoking the most miraculous power we can ever know. A love so bright and shining and constant that it has the capacity to forgive the seeming unforgivable, to love the seeming unlovable, to awaken us to the realization that we are all expressions of this holy, sacred presence. We come this morning to commune with the sacred nature of divine love. And we give thanks for the grace that finds us because of our simple openness and willingness. And so it is. Amen.
Recipes, sage advice. Don't jump before you look and don't think twice. Years of wisdom wrapped in a mason jar. Never be afraid of being who you are. Crank her over and drive her down the road. She's a beauty just waiting to unload. See the future but live for right now. Don't you worry about the where or why or how. It's a good love. It's like rain in summertime, and it's a nice night. If your heart is feeling fine, it's so easy to be happy more than not. Easy to be thankful for everything you got. Just breathe. Just breathe. Growing pains and hopeful hearts, eyes wide open and watching fear depart. Grace abounding one day at a time. Harmony that's flowing with simple words that rhyme. Falling stars are lighting up the sky. I hear the words and I see it in your eyes. Wrap yourself around it and feel it in your chest. The light is all around you and you are truly blessed. And it's a good love. It's like rain in summertime, and it's a nice night. If your heart is feeling fine, it's so easy to be happy more than not. Easy to be thankful for everything you've got. Just breathe. Just breathe. Well, we are true believers, no matter what the cost. We will not be swayed and we will not be lost. Forces made of evil cannot stand up to love. And this is what we're choosing to be made of. Take my hand, take my heart. Loving kindness, that's a fine place to start. Fearless lovers rising from the scars of hate. No hopeless love songs, no time to hesitate. And it's a good love. It's like rain in summertime, and it's a nice night. If your heart is feeling fine, it's so easy to be happy more than not. Easy to be thankful for everything you've got. Just breathe. Just breathe. Wonderful.
Am I up?
You're up.
Thank you. Just breathe, huh? My father, with whom I didn't really get along very well for a good portion of my life, told me a story when I graduated from ministerial school some 30 years ago. I'm going to share it with you. It was his funny way of giving a gift. It's a story about a minister and his wife who had been serving their church for some 30 years. He did the speaking, and she sat on the front row in a position of support every week. There came a day when the minister's wife got notice that a relative was ill, and she felt called to go and attend to this relative. And as she was preparing to go, she called to him and she said, honey, she said, I just need to tell you something before I go. She said, you know, there's a box under our bed, and it's my box. It belongs to me. So I don't want you looking in it. Now, if I should ever pass away, whatever, something happened to me, then of course it goes to you, and everything in it is yours. So she left, and the minister kept thinking about that box. You might say he was tempted. Eventually he just couldn't help it. He fell down on his knees and dragged the box out and opened it up, and was quite surprised by the contents. There was a lot of money, and 3 eggs laying on top of the money. He counted, it was some $13,000. Well, when the wife returned, he was a little eaten up with his guilt and felt like he had to confess what he'd done. And he told his wife, he said, I apologize, but I just couldn't help myself. I was so curious, and I opened the box to see what was in it. You know, he said, the $13,000 was certainly a surprise, but the 3 eggs, you know, what was that about? And she said, well, you know, every week for these 30 years, I've sat on the front row and listened to your sermon. And some are better than others. And whenever you gave a lesson that wasn't so hot, she said, I'd put an egg in the box. Well, the minister was just tickled. You mean you only felt I gave 3 bad sermons in all these years? Well, no, she said, that's not quite how it worked. She said, every time I'd get a dozen eggs, I'd sell them and put the money in the box. That may have been my father's way of trying to teach humility. As we go on this morning, I'm inclined to share something that, well, a few of you have read my book, so you'll be familiar with the story. A little abbreviated version of how I first got changed by this awesome spirit that lives within us all. And I don't think I've ever thought differently, but that there is a power in us that we may or may not be fully familiar with that has the capacity to change anything, anytime. It just requires our attention. So as I tell the story, let's be clear that I'm not trying to draw attention to me and my story. The story is about the power, the miraculous and wondrous power of love that is in us, and sometimes just needs some attention to bring it out and let it do its thing. So between 1962 and 71, during those 9 years, I spent 7 of them locked up in reform schools and county jails, and ultimately did a 2-year sentence in a maximum security unit of the Texas Penitentiary. Nothing to be too proud of. But when I got out, I had my mind made up that I was going to change, and I started reading spiritual books, and I took a class on meditation, and I was managing a nightclub and restaurant for my history professor at the junior college I was going to. And this nightclub and restaurant got raided, and a number of enforcement agencies came in, and they found some marijuana and hashish and paraphernalia in the mobile home that was sitting on the property. I wasn't living in the mobile home. My head bartender and cocktail waitress were. But at any rate, we all got arrested, and I was placed on under $300,000 worth of bond. And that's more than murderers sometimes get. And it was because of my history. So the point is, I didn't even know it was there. So I was innocent. So you can imagine my little ego mind. It was just raging and fearful about why is this happening to me? I was trying to do the right thing for a change. I was working, I wasn't breaking the law, and now this has happened to me. And my head bartender and cocktail waitress, who were the people who possessed this, both were from wealthy families, had never been arrested. They had very low bonds, and they were out before you knew it. And I'm left in there by myself as the innocent one. And during all this raging, I happened to run across a little book. Most of you are probably familiar with it, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And the book said in it, and I'm paraphrasing here, that all lack and limitation and seeming bondage are the results of poor attitudes, particularly resentment. It also said, love liberates. So I took some time. I guess maybe I was forced to, given my situation. I was highly motivated to look and see, I didn't think I was particularly resentful. But as I looked, I realized I hardly knew anyone very well that I didn't resent to some extent. So I didn't really know how you invoke this love thing, but I thought about the idea. I'd read it in one of my books before they arrested me about forgiveness. So I decided to just sit there and tell the people that I had resentment for, that I was sorry. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was this is 2 or 3 years before I came into Unity. So I didn't have a lot of training, but I would just say to these people, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I've been angry with you. Whatever you did, you're just a human being. You probably didn't know any better. And anyway, I think I'm hurting myself by holding you in resentment. And so I just hope your life works out well wherever you are. And I do this over and over again. Not, of course, letting anybody in the jailhouse know what I was doing. That wouldn't have been particularly popular in a Harris County jail in the early 70s. But I began to feel a change come over me. It was slow, but I was very dedicated to this. I was doing it over and over and over, all the free time I could find to lay on my bunk and pretend I was sleeping and just sit there and tell people I was sorry. And this change, I started to feel less fearful and less resentful, let's just say it that way. And then one day, as I was laying there, I was kind of trying to meditate. I'd taken this little transcendental meditation course while I was out, and I'm laying there kind of trying to meditate halfway and kind of trying to forgive people. And all of a sudden, something shifted, and I saw this body laying on a bunk. And it was this body. And I was looking at it seemingly from up in the corner of the cell. And I could see that it was trying to pray and trying to forgive people. And it's impossible for me to explain this to you. So you just have to feel into and underneath my words. But I saw this body and this personality as if they were like a vehicle that I'm living in rather than who I am. And I realized that really he was a good guy. He was just frightened and confused. That's trying to put in words what I can't say in words. About a second later, I'm back in my body looking up, wondering what in the world just happened. I'd spend the next 30 or 40 years trying to understand this. And there's not any real understanding of it except to say that, we really aren't these bodies. They're temporary vehicles in which we live. And even our personality structures are temporary. Who we are is a bright, shining awareness that is already this unconditional love. And what had happened is I'd seen this guy, this marked guy laying there through the eyes of love. And up to that time in my life, I think I had believed that there was, because of all the things that had happened, there must be something fundamentally wrong with me. But that was gone now. I had a lawyer, and up to that time, when he'd come to see me, I'd just whine a lot, you know. Don't they know I'm innocent? But, well, you can't take the stand to defend yourself if we go to trial, Mark, because if you do, they're going to bring up all these other arrests, and no jury in the world is going to believe you, even though I do know you are innocent. So the next time he came to see me after this experience, I said to him, I said, Jim, I said, I realize I've been whining and bitching and moaning every time you come to see me. It probably wasn't real happy for you to even want to come by. But I just want you to know that I realize the situation I'm in is my fault. It's because I've been arrested all these times that I'm in this situation. It's not yours. And I know you're doing the best you can to defend me. So I just want you to know that no matter what the disposition of the case is, I'm not going to blame you. In fact, I'm through blaming anybody for anything. I couldn't really explain what had happened to me, and I don't know that it would have been wise to try to. But I had been so profoundly altered that I was no longer frightened at all. It didn't really matter to me how it worked out. I just felt like it's going to work out, and anyway, I know who I am now, in a way I've never known before. This is a very abbreviated version of the story. There are a lot of synchronicities and miracles that took place during this short period of time, this few months that altered a life forever. But I'm gonna jump to the kind of closure of it. The day came that I was going to trial. Well, the district attorney had already been on television saying that he planned to ask for a life sentence because I was what they call an habitual criminal. And when we went to trial, I was in a holdover tank and they were picking a jury in the other room. I couldn't really hear much. But at a certain point in this process, while we're waiting for the jury to finish being picked, and I'm in this holdover cell around the corner, I hear a gavel bang. And all of a sudden things got quiet, and the next thing I know, my lawyer's standing in front of me, and he said, Mark, are you ready to go home? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, I didn't want to really say anything because I didn't want to raise hopes. I wasn't sure how the judge would rule on this, but one night a few weeks ago, probably about the time I'd had this experience, he said, I woke up from a dream. And he said, I couldn't go back to sleep, and I went in my office and I happened to open the file with your case in it, and I looked at the search warrant, and it said that it covered an address on River Road in Houston, Texas. Actually, it was Chattanooga, Texas. But he said it doesn't name the county, and he said, technically speaking, it has to name the county. So I realized that we had grounds for an appeal. I wasn't sure the judge would recognize it, but he did, and he decided to save taxpayers money, and so the search warrant was found to be illegal, so all the evidence found as a result of the search warrant is not admissible, and you'll be out in a few hours. It's an amazing story. My time in Unity has been filled with what I call miracles and wonders. I'm quite clear that we know the principles here that can give rise to all manner of transformations, miracles, wonders, synchronicities, and amazing grace. The rest of my life has largely been an experience of great grace. By grace, I'm not denying the law of cause and effect. I'm simply saying, I think what Jesus meant when he said, I came not to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. The fulfillment of the law is to know who we are as love and live from that love. And that causes everything to fall into place. It places us in grace. It relieves us of the feeling that we need to be in control of things. It relieves us of most of the anxiety that the ego likes to chatter about in our heads. Not saying mine doesn't still talk to me. Yeah, I just know better than to believe it. And I look at it with love because it's just a little fearful structure. If we were born on earth, we were taught that we're all separate, but we're not. And what real love is the realization of oneness. You know, if you look around yourself at the other people in this room, we are that one presence in unique and individualized expressions. Our real essential duty, if spiritually, should we awaken to it and accept it, is to remember who we are and who each other is as a single presence. We're like waves on an infinite ocean, temporarily expressions. And we have in us, you know, I talked about this chakra this morning, and Donna, apparently she and I have an awful lot of the same understanding. When she talked about the heart chakra, she talked about it in a way that really resonates with me. It's the center of centers. And it's right here in us. So my message this morning is fairly simple. I'm simply reminding you, if you're not really sure, that any problem you think you have can be dissolved and resolved through love. And that's the quickest way to resolve it all. And all it requires. This is our fundamental principle. This is what the Fillmores and everybody else that studied with Emma Curtis Hopkins understood, that we experience what we give our attention to. So rather than overlook so much of the time the heart in favor of what our chattery little minds have to say, we could learn to touch the heart center, to open to it. It's like an invocation to the Holy Spirit. We can just be that invitation. And what is the Holy Spirit? It's the whole Spirit. It's the oneness. I have a small nonprofit, and one of my board members sent me something. Let's see if I can find it. This is Einstein. Concerning matter, we've all been wrong. What we have called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. Matter is spirit, reduced to the point of visibility. There is no matter. A human experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest. A kind of optical illusion of consciousness, he says. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Our separation from each other is an illusion. So I kind of went all the way back this morning. Not to be about me, but because there's no experience that I ever had that had such a dramatic, life-changing effect. It took a guy who had been almost entirely locked up, in and out of jails and arrested some 20 times, and turned him into a spiritual seeker and a spiritual teacher and then a minister. It altered everything. It released me from a circumstance that seemed impossible to be released from. This is not special for me. I believe the only reason it happened to me is so I can tell you and remind you that this love is in you. If there's anything in you that doesn't yet know that it's lovable or that it's perfect and that it's whole, you could just hold it in the heart center until that thought and that belief dissolves. We are right this second, that one presence. We are waves on the infinite ocean having a conversation with itself. And the intent of the conversation is to help each other remember, oh yeah, I don't have to get lost in this fear-based thinking. I don't have to be lost in fear. I don't have to think I have to be in control of everything. I just need to remember who I really am at the very depth of my being. So hopefully my story helps you open to the possibility of grace, miracles, and wonders, which is our natural inheritance when we give up the fight and surrender to love. God bless you. And thank you, and thank Reverend Donna for trusting me. By the way, I've known a lot of ministers, and I've probably spoken in maybe 100 different churches and all over the world, really. I've never been so quickly and instantly welcomed and trusted as I have been by Reverend Donna. I still find it a little enigmatic. I don't know what to think of it.
Please join us in singing I Trust in God. It's in your bulletins.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I am one in the spirit all around me. I surrender. I trust in God. So grateful, I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful, I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful, I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful, I trust in God.
Thank you, Mark. I was listening so intently, I wanted to jump up and stick the microphone in front of your mouth at the very end so everyone could hear, but I didn't want to interrupt your flow. Thank you. It was beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to have to look up the word ignitic one more time. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. Let us take a moment and just feel the love in our heart radiating out.
Yes.
And as it radiates out, it heals all that needs to be healed within and without. And for this we are grateful. It's time for our offerings. So I would like for you to hold that in your hand. Visualize it in your mind if you give through the mail or automatic deposit. Just visualize it and know that this radiating love is the true gift that you're giving. Because the energy with which we do anything is the truth of what we're doing. Let us affirm together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
Lately I feel I'm sinking in a flood that's come. It's got me thinking about what I've done to be a part of the mandate, sending light into the dark. Or how I've broken and spoken in ways that tear apart. The clock is ticking, time is slipping right on by. Caught up in the shaming, the blaming, stuck in my alibi. I don't know about you, but I'm weary of the fight. This is not what I came here to do. that child over there, trust in her eyes, wondering at the marvelous world like a great surprise. I grew up long ago, thinking I was wise, watching ones rise, allured by disguise. Oh, don't know about you, but it's hard to see through. What I came here to do is love, love, love. What I came here to do, to bring love to you. And love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. Love does not boast, it's not arrogant or rude. Love rejoices, rejoices in truth. Love is calling for me and for you. Oh, don't you hear it? The time has come. What we came here to do is love, love, love. What we came here to do, to bring love to you. See that child over there, trust in his eyes, wondering at the marvelous world like a great surprise, and watching towers rise to the sky, feeling them crumble when we fall to demise. Oh, but love is calling, calling from the ruin. What we came here to do is love, love, love. What we came here to do, to bring love to you. What we came here to do is love, love, love. What we came here to do, to bring love to you. What we came here to do is to bring love to you.
Okay. What a great service. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let us stand and close. We're going to say our prayer for protection, followed by our peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well.
Peace on earth and let it begin.